What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with another upload. Just talking about football philosophies, football differences, probably modern game versus 20 years ago in a sense. But you know what? I'll get into it as the video goes along. Before I go on, please hit a like on the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and of course, drop your comments below. Thank you to William Morrison and John Abbott for their super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. And welcome Clive, who has become a member of the channel. Much appreciated for that support. Memberships are in the description if you want to join the channel and help that way. It really does mean a lot. And now listen, a disclaimer before I go on to this topic, because this is about a difference of opinion. By no means I'm saying Daniel Farke I want him out or anything crazy like that. You just have to make these disclaimers before, because if you don't agree with everything the manager says, in some people's eyes, you dislike the manager. Well, that's just not true. I absolutely love Daniel Farke as we speak today. So yeah, if you're one of those people that is whatever the manager likes, I like, then please just click off this video because it won't be for you. You know, like they're coming to America. Remember, whatever music you like, I like. Yeah, this isn't that. Okay, it's just a difference of opinion. And look, let's get into it, because we're talking about this man today, and I know you guys love his smile and everything so much. So here it is. Here's Georgie's smile. Wonderful yesterday, and I hope everyone that didn't get to see the goals live in the game yesterday have seen them by today. I'm sure you will have. But just so much magic, so much creativity, so much endeavor, so much flair in the goals. Those are my kind of goals, people. You know what I mean? I can take the meat and potatoes, corner being swung in and a header, great. But when you've got creativity and someone in Jorginho's mold, you have to embrace it. You have to. You give these people an extra license that other players can't have because they don't have the same skill set. And Georginio Rutter's skill set is high. Now, I'm aware that football's changed and everything else like that in the last 20 years. There is it, I can move with the times. I'm aware now it's more sterile, it's more system based. Everything is system now. If a player doesn't fit a system, then it's not going to work. I can accept that. But what I can't accept is when coaches try and coach out flair out of players. And I disagree with Daniel Farke on this comment. And this is via Phil Hayes' Twitter, but I did watch the actual LUTV interview just to get the full context of it, and it was exactly how it sounded. And Danny Farker said he's spoken to Georginio about making sure that when he plays, he doesn't try to embarrass or disrespect opposition players. Can show his magic, but needs to keep it under control. But very happy with his display. I couldn't disagree more with Daniel Farker on this one. Now, I'm not saying Rutter should dribble on the edge of our own box and put us in danger, but everything that he was doing in terms of his creativity was in their half. And I think that should be applauded. Um, and him being a flair player, a player of high skill, he should be showing he's a level above the rest of the players in this division. He should be showing why he was so highly rated and why we paid such big money for this player. So I've got no issues with players showing their freedom of expression on the pitch. I get it. Systems are a king in this era. I get it. But when you try and coach out a player's flair, I don't like that. There's been too much of that over the last 20 years. And, you just think of someone like Thomas Muller. If he was to start playing today, coaches wouldn't know what to do with him, because no one really knows Thomas Muller's best position, but they just know he excels in every single one. This isn't like and not to be horrible, it's not like a Tyler Roberts where he plays left, right, attacking mid, central mid, striker, and no one really knows his best position because he's not good at any. This is where someone is creative and they can move out of position and help the team out in a more creative way. And yeah, I disagree with Danny Farker 100% on this one. And I'm not saying let Rutter become like a Adel Tarat from Neil Warnock and QPR days, where Tarat goes out after the game and has a kebab or anything crazy like that. But just let him be expressive. There's risk and reward with these kind of players. Of course there is. But you saw against Watford, it paid off in droves. It was wonderful to watch. And who doesn't like watching that kind of football? Actually, I'm sure some of you don't like watching that kind of football, and that's okay. But most people go to watch football to be entertained. They want to win, but they also want to be entertained as well. And Rutter did that in spades. Now, we had games earlier this season at home where we were trying the same thing over and over: cross in, headed away, cross in, work away up to the box, cross it in, headed away. How many times did we see that? With Georginio yesterday, we saw someone that took out 2, 3 players with his dribbling skills, with his skill set, and it opened up the pitch. That goal for Jane Anthony doesn't happen if Georginio just runs up and then just passes it sideways, and instead of doing his pirouettes and all those kind of things that he was doing. Um, what one thing there was a TikTok recently, and maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but just describing it very briefly. It was a TikTok where, and it was a joke, but there's with every joke there's sometimes truth. It was a TikTok of these kids playing football where they were wingers and they were doing all these expressive things of 20 years ago, where wingers would go around the play and knock the ball around, dribble pass, and everything else like that. And then it showed the modern day winger where they just run up to a player and then just stop and pass it to the midfield. And that is it's very generalizing, but it's very true of this era where wingers just don't take on players anymore. It's not celebrated like it used to be. And that is a shame in the modern game. It really is a shame, because you see it now with crowds. Crowds are talking about coaches, but crowds are pretty much the same. Crowds will groan when a dribbler loses the ball up the pitch, but they'll applaud a back pass when a player is being pressured to his centre back or to the goalkeeper. You hear a big round of applause. It's like people are just so scared of losing, or being the one to make a mistake now, that they applaud the simple things instead of celebrating the extravagant. And I would hate now for Jorginho, from the next game onwards, to go to be dribbling with the ball, going up to a defender, and then just passing it off now, because he's got that in mind where he doesn't want to be shown that he's embarrassing opponents. I would hate to see that being taken out of his game, because I think then you lose quite a lot of Jorginho's play. Um, just recently as well, and this is something from a Man City signing, and it's the most recent I could think of. But Doku, he is an excellent dribbler of the ball, quick as hell, brilliant player. But on his debut, he stifled himself, and this is just a little bit of his quote where he said he was nervous. It's because he didn't want to, go outside of the system too much. He knows how Man City like to play. He didn't want to be a problem in that way. And this was when Pep was out with his back injury, when he was sidelined for a bit. But then, Pep comes back in, and he said for a long time, I didn't see a performance of a winger going again and dribbling with his fullback. It won't happen every week, but he has the quality to do it. Go try, do it. Because Pep always gets this rap that he likes everyone. Now, Pep is the ultimate system manager, but you saw when he had Mahrez, he liked Mahrez to be that X factor in his card, in his deck. He liked Mahrez to be that ace in the hole, and he's replaced Mahrez with basically a younger Mahrez who's a bit quicker. And he wants Doku to be that Mahrez. He doesn't want him to be like he's, molded Grealish into his system. He wants him to be that outlier. And I think you do need that in every team. And if you've got one, you've got the advantage, because now that we in the championship, especially, we've got defenders that will not have a clue what to do with Georginio Rutter when he's on that kind of form. Now, Farke, we can say Farke, he could have been showing respect to his opponent, especially his fellow manager, who he spoke so highly of before. He could see it was a bad day for him, and maybe he was just showing respect along that way. He could have been sending a message to the league saying that he respects the league, and he's not trying to embarrass anyone. But in sending that message, he may have inadvertently put even more of a target on Jorginho's back, because now people are going to be looking out for it and going, okay, if he tries that, I'm just going to smash into him. And maybe he's saying that just so Rutter doesn't get smashed into. We saw that yesterday against Watford, where he took out players on the touchline, and then he got a hockey hip check and he was down for a bit. And maybe he's doing that in that case, but I just feel like it maybe highlighted Jorginho just a little bit more than it should now. But yeah, I'm interested to get your thoughts on it. Just because you disagree with, let me just reiterate, just because you disagree with it, it doesn't mean that you dislike Farke. It could just be that you enjoy flair players, and there's nothing wrong with that, people. Nothing wrong. Just one other graphic before we go, courtesy of my friend at LUFC Data here. Look at that. And this is what we can't stifle. Most assists, big chances created, most chances created for Leeds. And Rutter heads them all, except for the actual assist, which is Dan James. Now, people are saying, oh, no, not more Dan James prop. Well, here it is, people. He's creating chances. So it may not be pretty. This is the opposite of Jorginho. It may not be pretty, but Mr. Chaos, he's effective right now. He's effective. And on that shameless note, I'm going to end this video. Like I say, please hit a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and of course, drop your thoughts below. And I'll see you in the next one, people.